Take a look.
What's going on, guys? It's your boy Big Hero Chris back at you with another one. If you're new to the channel, go ahead and subscribe, leave me a thumbs up, ring the notification bell, hit me up on Twitter, TikTok, the community posts. You already know the vibes, man, and it's Friday, so it's time for your Smackdown review. Make sure you take this opportunity to throw your wands up to the sky and acknowledge your tribal chief, Roman Reigns, who was on the Pat McAfee show earlier. And you know, even though we didn't get our Friday gospel from The Rock, we still got an interview with Pat McAfee and Roman Reigns, and it was actually really entertaining, like a lot of in-character stuff. Him taking the time to appreciate Paul Heyman and the genius that he is, so that was a pretty good interview. So if you ever get the opportunity, make sure you check that out. But as far as this week's episode of SmackDown, it was very eventful, doing more build for WrestleMania, a whole bunch of twists and turns, and new signings. Speaking of that new signing, it is official tissue. Jade Cargill is officially signed with SmackDown. She's going to be on SmackDown next week to, you know, make things official, show her face in the place, officially have a brand, hopefully start a feud. I mean, WrestleMania is only a couple weeks away, so, you know, maybe there's still time for her to, you know, be featured on the card in some way, shape, or form. But Jade Cargill is officially on the SmackDown brand. And we also got a cool video package of Braun Breaker, you know. And I feel like once he officially gets on SmackDown, like once he gets officially on the show and cooking and everything, dude's going to be a beast. He's going to be the man. He's going to be like that guy that's like next up. So be on the lookout for old Braun Breaker. But as far as the rest of this episode of SmackDown, it started off with a match that I thought was, speaking of WrestleMania, gonna be at WrestleMania, and that is between Santos Escobar and Rey Mysterio. And even before the match, you had a little video package, you know, highlighting the history and the rivalry between Santos and Rey. And this was a pretty good match, man. It was one-on-one, no legato, no LWO. Just two guys, you know, settling their beef, settling their issues in the middle of a ring. A whole bunch of flips and lucha dives and LWO taunts, you know, all that jazz and everything. And it was looking like Rey Mysterio was going to get the win. But then this masked figure showed up out of nowhere. We didn't know who it was. We thought it was a clone of Rey Mysterio. It was like the Spider-Man meme. Who could this possibly have been? It was none other than Rey's own son, his flesh and blood, Dirty Dominic Mysterio showed up, helped screwed over Rey, helped Santos get the win. 1, 2, 3. And as far as this feud goes, man, like I said, I was thinking it was going to be a one-on-one at WrestleMania. It may be a tag team match or a multi-man. I don't know. Honestly, it could really go either way. It's really up in the air at this point as far as what Rey and Santos does, especially when you involve Dominic. And Dominic has been having this thing going on with Andrade El Idolo on Raw with the Judgment Day. So it's really a toss-up right now as far as what they do as far as, you know, sticking all the Hispanic people together. I don't know, but, you know, we just gotta wait and see what happens. But something that was happening ongoing throughout the show was this whole Damage Control, Bayley, now Naomi and Bianca's involved. It started off with a backstage segment between Naomi and Bayley. Bayley was thanking Naomi for having her back last week, and she was kind of apologetic about, you know, getting her involved. But, you know, Naomi was doing the right thing. She was sticking up for her friend. But Bianca was having none of this. She was like, Bayley's getting exactly what she deserves for, you know, running with Damage Control for all these years and ruining SmackDown and ruining the women's division and blah, blah, blah. And a lot of people feel like Bianca's turning heel, and I can kind of see why. But this new direction Triple H has is not so much like I'm bad just for the sake of being bad now. It's like I'm justified in feeling the way I feel. Like, Bianca has been tortured by Bayley for years, all the way back to the pandemic, all the way with the formation of Damage Control, all the way up till now. So naturally, Bianca wouldn't want anything to do with Bayley. She wouldn't want to help Bayley in any way, shape, or form. So that does make sense. And on top of that, she's seeing her friend Naomi get involved, and now Bianca's trying to talk sense into to Naomi, and Naomi's like, "Listen, I'm just trying to do the right thing, and we can't take on Damage Control alone." Like, she's trying to like coach Bianca into saying like, "Well, we kind of need you in taking these guys down." So there was that, and that really played up into Naomi's match with Io Sky. Now Naomi came out first. She's waiting for Damage Control to come out, and they do, but they came out without Io Sky. Now we're just waiting. I'm thinking Io's gonna do that thing where she attacks Naomi from behind, but she was actually attacking Bayley in the back. She was putting the beat down on her, getting her out the way, making sure she wasn't around to help Naomi. And then she comes out to the ring, and her and Naomi have the match, and the crowd's into it. They're really up for Naomi. Io is doing her thing. She's cooking as always, and the match was going pretty well. But of course, shenanigans are going to shenanigan, and Damage Control ended up coming out, and Io ended up getting the win with the over the moonsault. After the match, Damage Control attack Naomi, and then Bianca comes out to make the save. Notice she didn't come out to make the save last week for Bayley, but she came out for her friend Naomi this week. But again, man, the numbers are too great, and it's like 96 members of Damage Control and only 2, Naomi and Bianca. So of course the numbers game is going to get out of hand. Asuka hit Naomi in the face with the poison mist, so there's that. So the numbers game, a lot of people are saying that maybe Jade Cargill could help, and I can kind of see that because Jade's had interactions with Damage Control before, so that could very well make sense. And you also have this whole backstage story going on with Bianca and Tiffany Stratton. So who knows where all these women are going to end up. We already know Bayley is taking on Io, but what's going to happen with the Kabuki Warriors? Who are they going to wrestle? Could it be Bayley? Or could it be Naomi and Bianca? Or could it possibly be Naomi and Jade Cargill? We just gotta wait and see. And speaking of tag teams in WrestleMania, man, we have this qualifying tournament going on SmackDown. The first qualifying match of this evening was between Austin Theory, who it sounds like Def Rebel remixed Austin Theory's theme, and Austin Theory didn't really have the best theme ever, but it was like, alright, we'll just deal with it. But it looked like Def Rebel made more tweaks to it, and it's made it sound worse. I'm like, what are y'all doing? Get out of the kitchen, man. These themes suck. I mean, Def Rebel does have a couple of good songs, but for the most part, their track record isn't good. So when you're already taking a bad theme and making it worse, man, it's just like, get out of the kitchen. But Austin Theory and Grayson Waller took on the OC, who came out with Mia Yim. Good for Mia Yim. It's always good to see Mia Yim on television. However, the magic wasn't good enough for the OC. Carl Anderson was cooking, though. I can't even lie to you. Carl Anderson was doing his thing. He had the hot tag. He was kicking ass. But it still wasn't enough to defeat Austin Theory and Grayson Waller. And so now they're going to go on to face the winners of the Street Profits and the AOP. And this is a fine match, Angelo Dawkins was doing his thing, quick thoughts and prayers go out to Angelo Dawkins, who lost his mother recently, so, prayers up for Big Dog. But, the Street Profits ended up getting the win over the AOP. And I was kind of nervous a little bit, because I'm thinking, man, the Authors of Pain, they could probably do some damage, I don't want to see it. There was one spot where Montez did that dive over the top rope, and the AOP caught him. And as this happened, Montez was like, oh shit, and the camera caught that, so that was pretty funny. But the Street Profits win, so next week it's going to be the Street Profits taking on Grayson Waller and Austin Theory. And then you have, the New Cash Republic taking on, I think it's going to Gato del Fantasma, right? Yeah, it's going to be Legado del Fantasma or LW, one of those teams. And the winner of that team, the winner of those two matches will go on to WrestleMania to be in the ladder match, the big giant ladder match with 32 teams. We're going to have a tag team match next week between Pretty Deadly, yes boy, taking on the team of Kevin Owens and Randy Orton. And, they kind of get along, but, Randy and Kevin are going after the United States Championship. So I smell a can they coexist storyline, but we just got to wait and see. Something we don't have to wait and see is an episode of Cops that took place in the middle of SmackDown. So we go to a pre-tape segment earlier in the episode with AJ Styles. You know, he's talking about WrestleMania and LA Night and blah, blah, blah. And all of a sudden there's a honking outside of his house. He's trying to figure out what's going on. I'm trying to figure out why he has his Christmas lights up in March. But, you know, that's another story for another day. Outside was LA Knight, and they started fighting. They punched for a little bit, and the cops show up. And the cool thing about this was, you know, it wasn't as cinematic as normal WWE segments like this are. They actually used the police camera footage, like the body camera footage, and I thought that was a pretty nice touch. You even had the dash cam footage of this fight, so it was just those little touches that made this segment a little bit more fun. And LA Knight got arrested, you know, free the homie, free LA Knight, free the real. But this leaves us with our main event segment between Cody Rhodes and our tribal chief Roman Reigns. Now, the terms of this meeting, this parlay, were very clear. Roman comes alone, Cody comes alone, and you already knew that they weren't alone. Cody acknowledges, he said, look, I came by myself. I'm pretty sure you're here by yourself. But, you know, there's that undertone of saying that, nigga, I know you're lying. Roman pretty much called Cody stupid for believing that Roman came by himself. And, you know, they had one last final heart-to-heart back and forth. You know, Roman called Cody stupid. He said he's not fit to, you know, be the face of the company. He called him stupid for trusting Seth Rollins. Pretty much pitching the fact that Seth can't be trusted because Roman trusted him when they were with the Shield, and we see where that got him. And Cody's retort was, can Cody trust Seth? Probably not. But Seth hates Roman way more than he hates Cody. And I'm like, touche. And, you know, Cody threw it back at Roman saying that can Roman trust The Rock? And, you know, Roman kind of laughed this off. And, you know, it was an overall segment. It was all right. It wasn't anything spectacular. It wasn't anything groundbreaking. We're going to hear from The Rock in 2 weeks in Brooklyn, so, you know, there's always that. And this segment ended with Cody trying to shake Roman's hand. Roman, you know, shrugged Cody off, walked out, stood on the entranceway, snapped his fingers like he was Scorpio Sky, and then, to the surprise of absolutely nobody, Solo and Jimmy came out with their hoodies like we didn't know who they were. I don't know why they keep doing this, but, you know, it looks cool. I can't blame them. So Jimmy and Solo surround the ring. It looks like they're going to attack Cody. But then Cody, he doesn't look bothered because, to the surprise of Roman, Jey Uso and Seth freaking Rollins showed up to even up the odds. And that's how SmackDown ended, with everybody looking at each other. The Bloodline came out, they had their hoodies on. Jay had his hoodie on, Cody had on a suit, and for some reason Seth Rollins came out dressed like Eddie Murphy from Delirious. So, you know, it is what it is. And that's how we ended this week's episode of SmackDown. Like I said, man, The Rock's going to be in Brooklyn on Raw in 2 weeks. And that's going to be the final Raw before WrestleMania. So, and the one thing I got to note before I close this video out. No physicality. Nobody touched each other. No, you know, no punches were thrown. No super kicks were thrown. No Cody cutters. No spears. No none of that. I think they're saving that for the last Raw before WrestleMania. So with that being said, guys, what did you think of this week's episode of SmackDown? Are you excited for WrestleMania? Let me know in the comment section below. Of course, as always, like, comment, and subscribe. You guys take care. Bees. I'm out. Peace.